You've developed a dietary supplement and you're ready to sell it in the United States. The product is solid, the formula is ready, and then you look at the label and think, is all of this actually compliant? Because in the United States, a dietary supplement label is not just packaging, it's a legal document. And getting it wrong can mean warning letters from the FDA, product recalls, or having your shipment refused at the border. There could even be legal action against you. What makes this particularly tricky is that the FDA does not approve your label before you go to market. That responsibility falls entirely on you, the manufacturer or the brand owner. You're expected to self-certify compliance, which means knowing the rules before you print a single label. And the rules are more detailed than most brands expect. The font size, the panel layout, the claims you can and can't make, the exact disclaimer wording, all of it is specified. Miss one element and your product is considered misbranded under federal law. The penalties for that range from warning letters all the way to seizure of the product and civil penalties. I'm Andrew Parshad, founder of Quality Smart Solutions. We've worked with thousands of brands on their US compliance, and label issues are one of the most common things we catch during a review, often before they turn into a much bigger problem. So let me walk you through what the FDA actually requires on a dietary supplement label. Before getting into the label itself, let's make sure we're on the same page about what qualifies as a dietary supplement in the United States. So under DSHEA, the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act of 1994, a dietary supplement is a product that contains a dietary ingredient intended to supplement the diet. Now that can include vitamins, minerals, herbs, amino acids, botanicals, and similar ingredients. It must be labeled as a dietary supplement and cannot be represented as a conventional food or the sole item of a meal. The form can vary widely: capsules, tablets, powders, gummies, soft gels, liquids, even bars, as long as it meets that definition. Every dietary supplement label in the United States must include 5 things. First, statement of identity on the principal display panel, which identifies the product something like calcium supplement or herbal sleep aid. Second, the net quantity of contents. Third, a properly formatted supplement facts panel. Fourth, an ingredient list. And fifth, the name and address of the manufacturer, packer, or distributor. These are all mandatory on every unit sold, regardless of the format or the product type, and regardless of where it's sold. The supplement facts panel is probably the most tightly regulated of the label, and it's where a lot of brands make mistakes. It needs to list the serving size, the servings per container, and the amount of each dietary ingredient per serving. The layout, column headers, and font sizing all follow a specific FDA format under 21 CFR 101.36. A few things worth flagging here. For botanical ingredients, you must specify the part of the plant used, whether that's the root, the leaf, the flower, for example. That's a requirement, and that's not optional. And ingredients without an established daily value still need to be listed in the panel, with a footnote stating that the daily value has not been established. Separate from the supplement facts panel, you need a full ingredient list that includes everything in the product, including fillers, binders, and excipients. These are listed below or to the right of the supplement facts panel and must be introduced with the term other ingredients. Allergen labeling is also mandatory. Under FAL-CPA, any major allergen, which includes milk, eggs, fish, shellfish, tree nuts, peanuts, wheat, and soybeans must be declared on the label. This is where a lot of companies run into trouble, and it's worth spending a moment on. In the United States, dietary supplements can carry structure function claims. These describe the role of a nutrient in supporting normal body functions. For example, supports immune health, or promotes energy, helps maintain healthy bones. Those are all acceptable structure function claims. What you cannot do is make a disease claim. Saying your product treats, cures, or prevents a specific condition crosses into the drug category, and the FDA treats that very seriously. The FTC also has been increasingly active here. In 2023, they warned over 600 dietary supplement companies about unsupported claims and the potential for civil penalties. If you do use structure function claims, two things must happen. First, the FDA disclaimer must appear on the label, and that should be clearly stating that the claim has not been evaluated by the FDA and that the product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. And second, you must notify the FDA within 30 days of first marketing the product with that claim. A lot of brands, surprisingly, miss this second step entirely. Worth covering separately, if your product contains an ingredient that was not marketed in the US before October 15th, 1994, it's considered a new dietary ingredient. For that, you need to submit a new dietary ingredient notification, NDIN as it's often called. It has to be submitted to the FDA at least 75 days before you go to market. This is a separate process from label compliance, and skipping it is a significant regulatory risk that can trigger enforcement action. One more thing that often gets overlooked in discussions about labeling. Your manufacturing facility also needs to be registered with the FDA, and your operations must comply with current good manufacturing practices, known as cGMP. Those requirements cover ingredient testing, batch records, and quality controls throughout production. The label is the visible part of compliance, but what happens in the facility matters just as much. So to put it all together, a compliant U.S. dietary supplement label includes a statement of identity, net quantity, a properly formatted supplement facts panel, an ingredient and allergen list, and manufacturer information. Claims must stay within the structure function paradigm. The FDA disclaimer is mandatory when you use one of these claims, and you have 30 days from launch to notify the FDA. New ingredients need their own notification at least 75 days before you go to market, and your facility needs to be registered and operating under cGMP. That's a lot of moving parts, but getting it right from the start protects your product, your brand, and your ability to stay on the market. Label compliance is one of those areas where a small oversight can have a surprisingly large downstream cost. If you want a second set of eyes on your label before it goes to print, or if you're not sure whether your claims are structured correctly, that's exactly the kind of reviews we do here at Quality Smart Solutions every single day. Visit us at QualitySmartSolutions.com to learn about our dietary supplement compliance services, or drop us a message using the link below. And if you found this useful, we cover topics like this regularly, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one.